What if everything you've been told about emotions is upside down? You were raised to be kind, to be open, to lead with your heart. And what did that buy you? Disappointment that lingers, betrayals you replay at night, a softness people learn to press like a button. So let's cut through the polite lies. If you want real power over yourself first, and then over outcomes, you can't be ruled by feeling. You have to put emotions on a leash. Feel nothing, control everything. It sounds harsh until you compare it to the life you've already lived. The hesitations you excused as empathy. The disrespect you tolerated because you didn't want to overreact. The moments you swallowed your anger and called it maturity. And the price you paid in respect, influence, and leverage. Emotions aren't evil, but unmanaged emotion is a thief. It steals clarity. It steals timing. It steals the steadiness that makes people take you seriously. Niccolo Machiavelli never wrote a manual on how to be nice. He wrote a manual on how to win. His point wasn't, be cruel. It was, be effective. He understood that in a world of predators and prey, good intentions without control are a gift to the hunter. You don't live in a fair world. You live in a competitive one. And in competition, leverage beats purity. Every time. Ask yourself, how many decisions have you delayed because you felt guilty? How many boundaries did you blur because you feared being misunderstood? How many chances did you miss because you were busy managing other people's feelings instead of managing your focus? That isn't kindness. That's self-sabotage, dressed in polite language. Here's the first move. Separate what you feel from what you do. You're allowed to feel everything: anger, compassion, fear, excitement. You're just not allowed to let those feelings drive the car. Feel fully. Act coldly. That's not inhuman. That's professional. Emotions are data, not commands. You read them. You don't obey them. Second, stop confusing being liked with being safe. Love is granted when you serve someone's needs. It evaporates when those needs change. Respect, however, survives disagreement. Fear, properly understood as, I can't cross this person without consequences, creates predictability. You don't need people to adore you. You need them to treat your boundaries like walls, not curtains. Third, remove guilt as a decision-making tool. Guilt is a leash anyone can yank to steer you. If a promise you made yesterday undermines your position today, renegotiate it. If an apology is about restoring truth, give it. If it's demanded to control you, decline. Your word matters, but only as long as it doesn't make you complicit in your own weakening. Keep your integrity. Refuse the trap of weaponized guilt. Fourth, fix your reaction pattern. Emotional outbursts teach people where your buttons are. Silence teaches them nothing. When someone provokes you, breathe, slow your voice, and shorten your sentences. Precision is power. You don't need a speech. You need a sentence. Clarify what you meant. We won't do that. That won't happen again. Minimal words. Maximal signal. Then stop talking. Let silence carry the message your tone already delivered. Fifth, choose decisiveness over drama. Control isn't screaming, and it isn't chaos. It's clean, quick, unshakable action. You don't owe the world a visible struggle. You owe yourself a measurable result. When a line is crossed, you don't perform anger. You enforce standards. When a path is right, you don't poll for opinions, you move. Leaders act. Followers react. Feeling is reactive. Strategy is selective. Sixth, understand mercy as strategy, not identity. Mercy given too early becomes a foothold for revenge. Mercy delivered after the threat is neutralized becomes a message. I decide outcomes here. You're not punishing to feel powerful. You're shaping incentives so future behavior doesn't need punishment at all. 7th, detach from the outcome. Attachment breeds panic. Panic breeds mistakes. Your job is to make the highest probability move with the information you have now, not to guarantee a perfect future. Detachment looks like this. No begging, no dramatizing, no catastrophizing. Just the next correct action. 8th, reframe loyalty. Loyalty isn't never change. Loyalty is never betray the mission. If a person, plan, or promise stops serving the mission, you change it, not in rage, in order. You won't burn the house down, but you will remodel it without asking the furniture for permission. Finally, stop narrating your pain. The more you explain your feelings, the more people learn how to move you. The more you demonstrate control, the more they adapt to you. You don't need to announce new boundaries. Live them. You don't need to declare a new standard. Enforce it once cleanly and let the room recalibrate. This is the beginning of power, not numbness, but sovereignty. Not the absence of emotion, but the absence of emotional rule. Let others be governed by what surges in the chest. You will be governed by what serves the objective. Kill the habit of reactive feeling. Build the reflex of calm action. That's how respect starts. That's how influence compounds. That's how the game quietly turns in your favor. In part 1, you learn to kill the feeling, to silence the inner noise that weakens your edge. Now comes the second transformation, to become the mask. Because control without disguise is temporary, power exposed is power at risk. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. In The Prince, he wrote that a ruler must be both the lion and the fox, the lion to frighten wolves, the fox to recognize traps. But if you must choose one first, choose the fox. The lion wins battles. The fox survives them. What does that mean for you? It means you don't show what's real. You show what's required. You learn to perform emotion when it serves your strategy and bury it when it doesn't. You don't act fake. You act intentional. When you're calm but appear kind, people open up. When you're calculating but appear honest, people relax. The crowd sees your smile, your warmth, your steady composure, and they think they're seeing you. They're not. They're seeing your design. You are two beings, the illusion and the operator. The illusion is what the world interacts with. The operator is who quietly orchestrates everything. And here's the truth. The world never punishes masks. It punishes those who forget to wear one. Every day you walk into a social arena. Work, friends, business, love. It's all theater. Some roles are assigned. Others are chosen. The Machiavellian mind writes its own script. It asks, who do I need to be to win here? Then it becomes that shape until the job is done. Appear generous. Appear humble. Appear calm even when your pulse is pounding. This isn't deceit, it's discipline. The vulgar crowd, as Machiavelli said, always judges by appearances. And the world is made of the vulgar. Most people never look past the surface. They don't see motives. They see manner. So give them one they'll believe. You smile when necessary. You nod when expected. You let people underestimate you because underestimation is camouflage. You don't need to announce that you're powerful. The silence around your presence will say it for you. Understand this clearly. Real morality limits you. Fake morality protects you. Pretend virtue is a shield. Genuine virtue is a cage. When you appear kind, you buy trust. When you act fair, you buy time. When you speak gently, you lower defenses. And once defenses are down, control begins. Inside, you remain still, detached, calculating. You analyze tone, posture, micro-expressions. Every conversation becomes reconnaissance. Every compliment becomes bait. You start to see what others miss, what they reveal without meaning to. And that's when you realize the mask isn't a lie, it's armor. When people see emotion, they see access. They see an opening, a weakness. That's how manipulation begins, not through logic, but through empathy. The moment someone feels your vulnerability, they can use it. They can twist it, guilt you, redirect you. Emotion gives them the map to your pressure points. So you must master stillness. Stillness in your face, your tone, your hands. Stillness that unnerves others because it says nothing and promises everything. People are addicted to reaction. When they don't get it from you, they spiral. They fill silence with projection, confusion, even fear. And that's the power of the mask. It makes others reveal themselves while you reveal nothing. Eventually, you won't have to fake it. The mask fuses with your identity. You'll forget where the performance ends and where the real you begins. And that's good. That's evolution. You're not pretending anymore. You're operating on a higher frequency. You've shed the version of yourself that needed approval, that mistook vulnerability for connection. Now, you navigate like a strategist. You don't crave to be understood. You choose to be effective. You no longer defend your motives. You shape perception. And that's the art. Control the perception. Conceal the intent. Let people think they know you. Let them define you in ways that serve you. If they call you kind, perfect. If they call you mysterious, better. If they call you cold, excellent. Every label they attach blinds them a little more to what's really happening behind the curtain. The Machiavellian mask doesn't hide weakness, it hides strength. Because visible power provokes resistance. Hidden power provokes obedience. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you truly are. That's your weapon. Because people don't resist what they admire, they resist what they fear openly. But they submit to what they trust. So become what they trust. Wear the mask of virtue. Beneath it, keep the blade ready. And when the time comes, when the illusion has done its work, and your enemy has dropped his guard, you strike. Swiftly, quietly, without emotion, without warning. You don't explain. You don't justify. You just act. The world won't call it manipulation. They'll call it destiny. So now ask yourself, do you wear the mask? Or does the mask wear you? The answer will decide whether you command the game or become its pawn. You've learned to kill the feeling. You've learned to wear the mask. Now we move into the third transformation, the destruction of guilt. Because emotion isn't the only thing that weakens you. Guilt is worse. Emotion distracts you for a moment. Guilt chains you for life. It keeps you apologizing for your strength, doubting your instincts, and asking for permission in a world that only respects results. Guilt is the most effective weapon ever created to control men. Not by swords, not by threats, but by making them believe that wanting power is shameful. It's how society trains you to hesitate before acting in your own interest. Every time you pause and think, will this make me a bad person? You've already lost momentum. Machiavelli understood this long before the modern world did. In The Prince, he wrote that in the actions of men, especially of rulers, the end justifies the means. Read that again. Not feelings, not intentions, not purity the result. History never remembers the man who hesitated out of guilt. It remembers the man who won. You think morality protects you. It doesn't. It protects the people who benefit from your obedience. Every time you feel guilty for saying no, for taking space, for enforcing a boundary, someone else benefits. Guilt is how the weak train the strong to serve them. You've been told that good people follow rules. But what if the rules were built to keep you predictable? What if they were written by those who already seized power, not to protect justice, but to protect their control? So why play by them? Why hold yourself to a moral code that no one else honors when the lights go out? You can live by integrity, yes. But integrity must be chosen, not inherited. It must be a tool, not a trap. Here's a brutal truth. People don't respect goodness. They use it. They don't admire fairness. They exploit it. Compassion, empathy, forgiveness, all noble virtues, but only when you decide when and where to use them. Otherwise, they become openings for manipulation. The moment guilt enters, you start negotiating with your instincts. You start thinking, maybe I should let this slide. Maybe I'm overreacting. And that's when you lose leverage. Machiavelli wrote, "A man who strives to be good in all his acts is sure to come to ruin, since there are so many men who are not good." Translation: if you hold yourself to higher standards than your rivals, they'll use your principles as chains, and they already have. Every time you hesitated to protect yourself, you handed them control. Every time you felt bad for putting yourself first, you handed them authority. Every time you felt guilt instead of clarity, you handed them power. It's time to take it back. You must replace guilt with clarity. When you make a decision, ask one question: does this strengthen or weaken my position? If it strengthens it, you do it cleanly, decisively. If it weakens it, you don't know apology needed. Stop moralizing survival. You are not cruel for protecting yourself. You are not ruthless for enforcing respect. You are not heartless for choosing strategy over sympathy. You are awake. And when you stop feeling guilty, something incredible happens. People start to feel guilty around you. That's when you learn the real Machiavellian art, not of carrying guilt, but of planting it. You use guilt as a weapon, not a wound. You reverse the psychology. You make them question themselves. You make them apologize for doubting you. You make them wonder if they're the problem. You project composure while they scramble for validation. That's control without conflict. That's silent domination. Because once you control someone's guilt, you control their decisions. You control their behavior, their emotional rhythm, their loyalty. That's how rulers keep order without raising a hand. They don't threaten, they imply. They don't accuse, they disappoint. Understand this. Guilt is leverage. It makes people self-police. It makes them beg to fix something you never said was broken. That's why true Machiavellians move in silence. They never justify, they never explain. They let others drown in uncertainty, while they stand perfectly still. That stillness becomes terrifying, because people fear what they can't read, what they can't predict. And that fear gives you control. You don't need to argue. You don't need to fight. You don't even need to speak. You just need to be silent, long enough for guilt to do the talking for you. No guilt, no regret, only outcomes. That's the third evolution. Feel no guilt, play no fair game, win silently, win always. Because guilt is not truth. Guilt is a leash, and those who feel it serve those who don't. You've killed emotion, you've worn the mask, you've erased guilt. Now comes the fourth transformation. Move in silence. Because real power doesn't announce itself. It doesn't roar. It doesn't need validation. True control operates like a ghost, unseen, unheard, but everywhere. The weak talk, the strong act. The wise wait until the world has already shifted before anyone even knows who moved it. Machiavelli warned, "A wise man does at once what a fool does at last." The fool brags, posts, boasts, leaks his plan in the name of transparency, and wonders later why he was stopped. The wise man says nothing. He plans, he acts, and by the time anyone realizes what happened, it's already too late. The more you speak, the more you give away. Words are breadcrumbs that lead others back to your intentions. A single sentence can reveal your fears, your pride, your insecurities. That's why you must discipline your tongue. You don't need to be mysterious for effect. You need to be unreadable for protection. Silence is not passivity, it's precision. It's how you conserve energy and create psychological pressure. People are addicted to noise. They equate silence with weakness. Let them. That belief will be your camouflage. Because when people underestimate you, they expose their plans in front of you. They'll talk themselves into corners while you observe, learn, and wait. Silence gives you two advantages: awareness and control. While others rush to prove themselves, you study the terrain. While they show their hand, you keep yours hidden. Silence gives you invisibility, and invisibility gives you freedom. Machiavelli said it best: "Never attempt to win by force what can be won by deception." When you move in silence, deception isn't even a lie. It's strategy. You're not manipulating, you're managing perception. You're guiding outcomes without confrontation. You don't walk into a room demanding respect. You earn it by restraint. You let your results speak long after your words have stopped. You become the kind of person whose quiet unnerves people. They can't tell what you're thinking, and that uncertainty makes them cautious. That's power. The loud man provokes resistance. The quiet man breeds intrigue. The loud man is predictable. He tells you what he wants, what he fears. The quiet man is unreadable. He forces others to fill in the blanks. They project their hopes, their doubts, their guilt onto him. And that confusion makes them easier to control. Because the truth is simple. People fear what they don't understand, and they respect what they fear. When you say less, every word gains weight. When you delay your reactions, every glance becomes meaningful. When you do finally speak or act, the impact multiplies. That's how you bend reality without raising your voice. This is psychological warfare. You're not fighting flesh. You're fighting perception. If you can shape what others think is happening, you don't need to win the argument. You've already won the mind. Your silence becomes the blank canvas on which others paint their assumptions. Let them. Their projections are intelligence reports. Every false idea they form about you is another step into your design. And when the moment is right, when all the noise has tired itself out, you strike. One precise move, clean and final. No warning, no build-up, just results. That's the beauty of quiet power. There's no struggle, no spectacle, only consequence. You don't need to defend your choices. You don't even need to explain your reasoning. The outcome is the explanation. Victory in silence is the highest form of domination. Because when your enemies finally understand what you've done, they can't even trace how you did it. By the time they form the question, the game has already moved 3 stages ahead. And the best part? You vanish. You disappear back into the shadows. You don't linger for applause. You don't wait for thanks. You've already set the next move in motion. That's how kings rise in plain sight, quietly, strategically, invisibly. They don't demand attention. They redirect it. They don't crave recognition. They command results. You must become the ghost with a goal, the shadow with a strategy, an absence that still commands respect. The world worships attention. Let others chase it. You chase control. Let them talk. Let them post. Let them announce their dreams. You'll be the one turning silence into power, invisibility into influence, strategy into reality. Because in the end, the most terrifying man in the room isn't the one who shouts the loudest. It's the one who says nothing at all. He moves without warning. He acts without hesitation. And when he's gone, all that remains is the echo of consequence. That's who you're becoming. Unseen, unshakable, unstoppable. Move in silence. Leave no trace. You've silenced emotion. You've worn the mask. You've erased guilt. You've mastered the art of moving in silence. Now comes the final transformation, the one that transcends everything before it. You must become the game itself. Machiavelli never wanted his students to merely survive the world. He wanted them to rule it. And to rule, you must reach a state where you no longer play by anyone's rules, because you've become the one who writes them. You're not reacting to the moves of others. They're reacting to yours. You're not chasing control. Control emanates from you. This is the highest form of power, quiet, stable, and total. You no longer need to prove your strength. You are strength. You no longer seek validation. You create validation. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler must be both the lion and the fox. The lion to frighten wolves, the fox to recognize traps. The lion dominates through force. The fox survives through cunning. When you unite both, you become a new creature. Ruthless yet rational, feared yet admired. You don't need to roar to command attention. Your stillness speaks louder. To become the game, you must first understand it. Every system, every hierarchy, every group operates on hidden rules. These rules are built by those who control emotions, not by those who express them. The strong understand this and move accordingly. The weak react and call it morality. You've already killed emotion, so now you can see clearly. You understand what motivates people: fear, desire, ego, belonging. Every conversation, every alliance, every betrayal traces back to one of these motives. Once you can read them, you can guide them. You can make others believe that what serves you serves them too. That's when you stop being a player and start being the architect. But Machiavelli warned, fear without control becomes chaos. The goal isn't to rule through cruelty. It's to rule through precision. Control without compassion creates rebellion. Compassion without control breeds weakness. You must master both, the calm hand and the iron grip. When people fear you, they hesitate. When they respect you, they obey. When they both fear and respect you, that's power perfected. Fear is not about violence. It's about consequence. It's the awareness that crossing you carries a cost. You don't need to raise your voice or throw threats. Your silence will do that for you. People will learn to read the air around you, to sense the weight of your gaze, to feel the cold calculation in your calmness. Because true fear is psychological. It's born from mystery. The less people know about you, the more they imagine. And what they imagine always holds more power than what's real. But beware, if you ever let fear turn into recklessness, you lose control. The goal is not domination through terror, it's order through respect. A ruler without restraint destroys himself. A ruler who balances ruthlessness with reason becomes immortal. At this level, you don't need to talk about power. You embody it. Your presence becomes command. People sense it before you speak. You walk into a room, and energy shifts. They measure their words. They watch your silence. That's when you know. You've become the center of the game. No more proving. No more defending. No more explaining. Machiavelli wrote, "A wise ruler ought never to keep faith when doing so would be against his interest." It's not betrayal. It's adaptability. Loyalty to others is temporary. Loyalty to purpose is eternal. You move by principle, not emotion. You act by necessity, not nostalgia. When you reach this point, nothing external can shake you. Insults don't touch you. Praise doesn't change you. You no longer crave approval because you understand approval is a form of control. The moment you need to be understood, you've surrendered leverage. Detach from both love and hate. Detach from reward and revenge. Operate from strategy alone. You no longer respond to attacks. You absorb them, study them, and respond only when it matters. You no longer chase opportunities, you engineer them. You no longer fear uncertainty. You create it for others. That's how kings move. Quietly, deliberately, without noise. Most people lose themselves in emotion, reacting, explaining, justifying. You don't. You watch, you wait, you move once, and it's enough. The loud man announces his power and burns out. The quiet man builds empires in the shadows. And through that stillness, you discover the ultimate truth. Control doesn't come from aggression. It comes from indifference. It comes from being so centered that no outcome can disturb your balance. You can destroy or build, and neither will change who you are. That's the final form, not dominance, but detachment. You don't need to own the crown because you've already become the throne. You don't fight for authority. You radiate it. To the world, you'll look calm, maybe even cold. But underneath that calm is fire, a focused, disciplined fire that bends everything in its path. You are not suppressing emotion. You are mastering it. You are not avoiding pain. You are wielding it. The man who has reached this level no longer seeks power. He is power. He doesn't need to win battles. His existence tilts the field in his favor. He doesn't beg for respect. His silence commands it. You are the calm before the storm, and the storm itself. The quiet force that bends the world without raising a sound. This is what Machiavelli meant by mastery. The fusion of clarity, control, and cold precision. You don't need to feel powerful anymore. You are power, unseen, unshakable, unbreakable. The man who feels nothing controls everything. And that is the final victory.